In this video, we'll be covering important information to get you started with Code Club. This video is powered by Kids Code Jeunesse, a Canadian bilingual charity organization determined to give every Canadian child equal access to digital skills education, with a focus on girls and underserved communities. KCJ encourages inclusive and sustainable learning by teaching kids and the educators who play a crucial role in their development. KCJ is making sure that kids have the confidence and creative tools they need to build a better future. By the end of the video, we will have covered the who, what, and why of Code Club host roles and expectations, Code Club projects, and finally, next steps. Why teach kids to code? Coding is a really useful tool for kids to develop that will end up being even more useful when kids pursue future hobbies, schooling, or careers. We like to break down the Code Club experience into 3 C's: creation, collaboration, and coding, to demonstrate that there's a whole lot more to this program than simply learning to code. Over the course of their time with Code Club, children will be developing skills in programming, computational thinking, problem solving, planning and designing, and much, much more. Code Club is a worldwide network of volunteer-led coding clubs for children aged 7 to 12. It was founded in 2012 and in 2015 joined forces with the Raspberry Pi Foundation, a registered UK charity. Starting a Code Club is an opportunity to be a part of something big. Code Club International currently has over 13,000 clubs in 160 countries, and club projects have been translated into over 30 languages. The vision is to give every child the skills, confidence, and opportunity to shape their world. Mission: create a code club in every community in the world. And by 2021, 2.5 million children aged between 7 and 13 around the world will be attending a code club for at least one school term. It's also worth noting that KCJ is a recognized partner with Code Club International and represent the Canadian arm of the organization. So how does Code Club actually work? Well, we need a few things. Firstly, we need a volunteer or a club leader, a venue or a virtual room, projects, and finally, children. The club host is the venue or the organization responsible for the club, maybe a library, a school, a community organization. The club leaders are the volunteer team or staff members running weekly workshops. And the virtual room is the conferencing tool you decide to use, be that Google Meets, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, you name it. All of the projects and support resources are made available through the Code Club website for free, and there's no need to create an account. We also expect that the hosts will be taking care of registration, therefore getting a group of children together to take part in the program. So there are 2 ways to deliver these workshops, but I'll be focusing specifically on our virtual delivery. Children need their own computer and Wi-Fi, as well as any specific software. We normally have a group of 5 to 15 children participate from home at a designated time, 1 hour per week. Club leaders follow safeguarding guidelines and any online policies of the group's entity. And club leaders moderate, facilitate, provide group management support and technical support to the group. Why should you start a code club? Well, starting a club is a really small commitment for a big impact. You also get to develop your own coding abilities, and you're empowering kids to create with technology. Best thing about it is it's free. A frequently asked question is, how long do these clubs run? Well, normally one club term lasts about 6 to 8 weeks, but we do encourage that clubs go past the first term and explore more activities through the Code Club website. Here are the roles that you can play in supporting a code club. We need a facilitator to prepare to walk the group through the project materials and answer questions. You need a moderator to answer questions in the online chat box to support the participants and facilitator during the workshop. You can also co-facilitate or supervise, so just being present online during the workshop to ensure that all is running smoothly. This will depend on your preference, depending on whether you want to have volunteer support or if your staff will be taking care of the club. So at Code Club, we do recruit a fair number of volunteers, and absolutely anyone can volunteer with us. We encourage parents, teachers, librarians, students, and business professionals to get involved. You don't have to have any previous coding experience to volunteer, and it's enough just to be enthusiastic about kids learning digital skills and having 1 hour a week to commit to the program. We do, however, require that all of our volunteers get a background check with a vulnerable sector check. And we also require that the volunteers be associated to an organization or an academic institution. What does a typical Code Club session look like? Well, it's actually completely up to you. The whole program is founded on being accessible and flexible so that people can really make it anything they need it to be. We do have some guidelines to get you started, and they include making the space inviting, starting at the beginning, encouraging different skill levels and allowing kids to explore other projects, making time for sharing, and finally, keeping it casual. So these are the materials that Code Club offers. We have projects in Scratch, a block-based coding program, HTML, CSS, and Python, text-based coding programs, and Microbit, which is actually the best of both worlds. Feel free to check out more of the projects online at codeclub.ca. You'll notice that each and every one of them is split up in a step-by-step structure, so they're easy to follow along. As mentioned before, our volunteers require background checks with the vulnerable sector check. So if you're looking for volunteer support, this is something that will be taken care of ahead of time. A few more things to note. Hosts are offered staff Code Club training. So if you don't want volunteer support and you want to run this internally, then KCJ will offer some support to you. We'll be only offering this to organizations on an individual basis until January 2021. And then we'll be opening this up to larger group trainings. Hosts are in charge of registration and sending links to all participants and supporting members, staff and/or volunteers. And if volunteer support is desired, KCJ asks that clubs start during the first week of the month, just to give us enough time to get volunteers and hosts connected and for any logistical questions to be ironed out. We ask that all clubs with volunteer support run for a minimum of 6 weeks. And kind of the best thing about this is that one organization can actually host several clubs. So if you have audiences that are interested in a beginner Scratch club, an intermediate Scratch club, maybe some Python clubs, you can run a number of clubs at the same time or during the same week. Ultimately, we want you to have fun with it. This is something worth keeping in mind. We're currently running a microbit promotion. So if you register your club before December 31st, 2020, you'll have the opportunity to receive a free set of 10 microbits after your club has been active and running for at least 1 month. So we'll send you a survey 6 to 8 weeks after your registration to complete that process. For anyone who doesn't know what a microbit is, it's a microcomputer that lets us do some pretty awesome stuff. There are a bunch of sensors included, and we can, as mentioned before, code both block-based and text-based using JavaScript. So it opens a realm of possibilities. Next steps and support. So contact your local KCJ community developer for logistical support. Access the free online resources, read the guide on hosting a virtual code club and the volunteer guidebook. Find staff to support the weekly workshops, and put the word out to find participants. Set up a registration link for your audiences. Finally, register your club. Thanks so much for listening. I hope that was enough information to get you started, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.